And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm today on a brand new video for Gaming with GS, and today we're going to be talking about Guild Wars 2 and the recent huge debate about ArenaNet's decision on canceling, as some people have called it. However, the title of the forum post where this was announced, it was stated that legendary weapons were going to be suspended for the time being. Now, whether they're going to be suspended or canceled is something that we still don't know, is something that we'll have to see what the developers do with it. However, it has been upsetting a lot of people, and several people have come up to me already and asked me to talk about this and how I feel about it, and if people in the community have a right to be this angry. And I gotta tell you, for me personally, it's getting pretty annoying now that ArenaNet has sort of been slacking, I guess you could say. And the fact that Heart of Thorns was advertised with a new set of legendary weapons, and right now we haven't even gotten a full set. In fact, the only one that's guaranteed to be coming is the short bow. And the short bow basically anyone uses anyway, since only two classes can use it, which is the thief and which is the ranger. And quite frankly, those two classes are probably the least interesting to me anyway. I mean, ranger, the pets are cool, but the druid is pretty cool, I guess. But honestly, I barely go my ranger, and I don't even have a thief. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have the same sentiment I do, that short bow really isn't that exciting, and the fact that only two classes can use it, they probably should have put other legendary weapons first that people would actually use a lot more. Now, this announcement was made by the new game director, Michael Bryan, and, you know, out of all the anger that people have for this, and out of the disappointment that I have for this, and out of the annoyance that I have for this, I will say this: I'm pretty surprised, and I am glad that we have someone like Mike, who's being very honest with us, being very transparent with us, telling us how it is, and not afraid to get his hands dirty. Any other game company could have just not told us anything, and perhaps that would have been a better idea, because if you think about it right now, they're basically telling us, look, we're taking the people who are working on legendaries and we're gonna go move them to another portion to work on, such as Living World Story. Now, so far we have nothing released yet. We have no Living World Story released yet. We have barely any new content other than raids being released. And you're already telling us that we have people getting moved to another team to produce content. However, I think this should have been said when the content has been released. Living World Season's released. Okay, guys, here's Living World Season. This is what we've been working on. We were able to get it out maybe a month earlier for you guys, but we had to cancel legendaries. At least then we have something, actual proof that something has been produced, and that these 6 people have actually done something, because currently we have no proof that anything's being done, and I don't think many of us have much faith in ArenaNet anymore that things are going to get done. I mean, I appreciate the honesty, and I appreciate that someone like Mike is able to be very open with us, and is able to take the reins of the company and make decisions like these, make such hard decisions, and not be afraid to tell us. I appreciate that, but I just feel like it could have been done so much better. And what really confuses me too is that these 6 people couldn't handle these legendary weapons when they've been announced for. I mean, we've had legendary weapon talk since 2013. Since basically 3 years ago almost, we had blog posts talking about legendary weapons, about how new systems were being created, and after 3 years, not even a new set can be released, and now we're just gonna give up on the system. Out of something that we've been talking to players about, something that we've been promising players for 3 years now, something that a lot of people have been excited for, something that has been creating endgame content for lots of the time Guild Wars 2 has been out, now is just going to be thrown away because we feel like we can't do it, because we feel like it's too much. I don't know what the exact reason is why they had to move these 6 people. Maybe it was a very legitimate reason. Maybe there was a problem with one of the team members and there was a family emergency. I don't know what happened. However, I don't think it's right for him to come out and say, oh, we're not going to do this. We're going to scrap the idea and we're just going to go ahead and basically position these 6 people into another department to work on something else, and legendaries will just have to wait. Not only was this advertised in Heart of Thorns, not only were they at PAX in 2015 on stage talking about legendaries and how they're going to be coming, not only, the last time I checked, I think legendaries are still even being advertised on the Heart of Thorns website. If you scroll down, last time I checked, it still was being advertised. Not only that, but the fact that you've been promising this to so many people for so long and now just wanting to scrap the idea, it just doesn't really make any sense to me. And the fact that these 6 people have failed to do their job to release this stuff makes me question whether they'll do anything else properly. And one other thing that really confuses me also is, why is Expansion Pack 2 so important to them? Expansion Pack 1, we can all agree, wasn't everything we expected. I'm not one to sit here and say, oh, this was a bad expansion pack. It sucked. It was a decent expansion pack. It was fairly good, but it was very under-delivered on a lot of aspects in the game. Completely under-delivered in World vs. World. Completely under-delivered in Legendaries. Completely under-delivered in even the region that they created. We had 3 maps that basically all function in the same way. 3 maps that we can actually explore, because Dragon's Stand is revolved so heavily around the meta event, you can barely even consider it a map, more like an instance even. So I don't know why the focus is so hard on Expansion Pack 2 when there's so much more work to be done on Expansion Pack 1. And they could have easily just taken developers from Expansion Pack 2 and moved them to the Legendary team. You've already promised us Legendaries. So instead of making a new expansion that many people are probably not gonna buy because you've under-delivered, and now many people probably aren't gonna buy even more because you've made broken promises, instead of continuously to focus on Expansion Pack 2, why don't you show your community that you guys are capable of releasing content and you're capable of fulfilling your promises and keeping your word, and just take developers from Expansion Pack 2 and move them to the Legendaries team? Like, that makes so much more sense. Now, obviously, I don't know how the gaming industry works. I don't know how things in ArenaNet work. And perhaps I don't even have a right to say that, oh, this is such an easy change. You can just move people from X-Pack 2 to Legendaries team, right? None of us know if it's that easy. And a lot of people I've seen already say that telling people how to run their company, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And I don't think that's right at all. We're not in their shoes, we're not in the company. So we shouldn't be telling them how to do their job or how to run their company. But I do think that there's too much of a focus on Expansion Pack 2, and there should be a lot more focus on Expansion Pack 1 and the live game. Because Expansion Pack 1 wasn't that of a masterpiece anyway. Now, I can understand why they made this decision. I can understand why they did it, because they want to focus on live content that more people will do. If you remember a few videos ago, we talked about how Heart of Thorns focused far too much on endgame content and on hardcore players, which is true. And I can understand that perhaps they're realizing, hey, maybe we should go focus on some of the casual stuff more, some of the things that a lot of people will do, such as Living World, which pretty much everyone's gonna do, rather than focus on something that only a small minority of the population are going to actually do completely, which is Legendaries. I can understand that. However, like I've said, you've marketed it so much, you've promised it so much, you've advertised it so much, you've talked about it so much, and it's been so long since you've had this design. Why scrap the idea now? You know, like I said, I can understand why they're making this decision, because they want to focus on something or put more time into something that more people are going to enjoy. But that just shows you have a lack of resources. It shows you don't have enough people working on the content and you're spreading yourself thin. Like, there has to be other solutions. You're not telling me that the only solution was for you to go and move the Legendaries team over to the live team and keep the same amount of people on expansion pack 2. I probably know there could have been done something else. Now, personally, I don't really care too much about the legendaries. I mean, legendary journey seems like a pretty time investing and hard thing to do, and truthfully, I'm not a super hardcore player. I mean, if I see a legendary staff for my elementalist that I completely adore and I love it, then I'll definitely put the time in to make it. If I really see something that I really like and I really want, I'll put the time into it and make it. But the fact that some people have made their purchase of Heart of Thorns with the fact that legendaries will be in the game factored into their purchase makes me kind of cringe, because basically they're getting ripped off now, and if legendaries were very important to them, well, now they're basically getting the short end of the stick and getting told we're not going to make them anymore anytime soon. And by the looks of the blog post, when he said years to come, he basically said that legendaries could be made over years to come. It doesn't seem like they're going to be making them anytime soon anyway, which I'm guessing is why a lot of people are labeling this as legendaries being cancelled rather than suspended, as the forum post had indicated. Now, what I do care about is the fact that there's so many of these broken promises. World vs. World, we've been told, is going to get an overhaul. We've been told is going to get fixed. We've been told is going to be so great in the expansion. Yet have we to see any of that. We were told fractals are going to be so great. We were told that fractals are going to have new levels for us to do. And we have yet to see any of that as well. We were told that guild halls would get new additions, which we have yet to see. And perhaps, I don't even know if we're going to see them, because if they're already backing off of legendary weapons, which were promised to be in the expansion and advertised to be in the expansion, then why would they suddenly make a guild hall and add more guild halls when they've already backed off on legendaries? I think they're probably going to back off on guild halls too. I guarantee you we're probably not going to see another guild hall for a very long time. So, and now, obviously, now we have legendaries that were promised, and we're not getting them either. There are a lot of things that ArenaNet has promised us and that they haven't been able to fulfill yet. There are a lot of things that they've said that we're going to add on to and constantly have been telling us soon we'll add more. It really seems like the only thing they're adding on to a lot is the gem store. They're surely adding on a lot to that. It just all seems, I don't know if this is the correct term, but a lot of their content just seems half-assed. And I'm sorry to label it like that, but it just really seems like it. I don't know if I'm being too harsh. It just really seems like it though. Now, one other thing I want to touch on is a lot of people are not liking Mike O'Brien already. And I guess I can sort of understand that, because a lot of these decisions and a lot of these changes are not being taken very well by the community. Now, we don't know what these changes are going to bring us, so I don't think we can judge Mike too hardly. However, what I can say is this. I've been in a situation like this before. I used to play a game called Wizard 101, which is also an MMO. And they used to have a game director by the name of Todd Coleman. And I can guarantee you the day that he left the company, everything went downhill. Now, the game is in complete crap, where all they release are cash grab deals and a bunch of grindfest bosses with minimal content for each patch. Completely minimal. And this is a monthly subscription fee, which makes it even more disgusting. Now, I'm not saying that Guild Wars 2 is going to fall in the same cycle. However, I really hope that it doesn't fall into the same cycle. I really hope that these decisions that Mike is making are going to be for the better. I honestly really hope so. Because I don't think many of us want to continue to be disappointed. I don't think many of us want to continue to see these broken promises that are being thrown at us and, you know, making us love the game even more, making us be so enthusiastic about it, and then these promises that were made are just not going to be fulfilled, or they're going to be, you know, with the soon trademark right after, which we've been getting for quite some time now. I mean, it's literally been a joke all over Reddit even. And I guess I'll finish the video off with a quote that we got from Mike O'Brien, which was, he basically, I'm not going to bother to paste the quote, but he came on the forums and addressed a lot of people. A lot of people were saying that Heart of Thorns expansion was half released, it wasn't fully completed, and he addressed that, pointed out people and said, okay, a lot of people have been saying that the expansion has been half released only, and he basically said, I think the expansion was fully released. You guys got a whole new map, you got a whole new region, you got a whole new system of gliding, you got new mastery stuff, you got raids, and all this other stuff, and generally just said that he was proud of what was released. Now, if he has that mindset and mentality that he's proud of the fact that Heart of Thorns was released the way it is, then I think all future things are not going to be any better. Because he has to realize that Heart of Thorns underdelivered. And if he doesn't realize that, and he thinks that Heart of Thorns was a great success, and that there was nothing wrong with it, and that people shouldn't be saying that Heart of Thorns was half released only, if he can't understand certain degrees of that, then I think this game isn't going to go very far, and I think it really is going to die. So all in all, I don't like what's been happening. I don't like the fact the legendaries were cancelled, and it's not because I'm sitting there crafting all these legendaries, I'm sitting there doing all these legendary quests. It's not that. It's just that ArenaNet's image right now, what ArenaNet has been telling us, how we perceive them, has really been going downhill. And I honestly just don't want to see any more terrible things. April's coming up, and we've been told that a lot of great stuff is coming in April. Now, what I think is going to happen, and I'm very skeptical. I'm very anxious to see April come by and all they release is Super Adventure Box. Now, I've seen other people say the same thing already, so I might as well say it as well because I completely agree. People like Super Adventure Box. It's a fun thing to do. However, it's not going to fix any of the problems that ArenaNet has right now. It's not going to make everything completely better. It's not going to make people completely forgive everything that's happened. Just say, oh, okay, everything's okay. We love Super Adventure Box. Go ahead and take your time. Forget about everything that you've canceled. Forget about everything that you've, broken promised. No. Super Adventure Box will be popular for a few days, and then we're all going to be back to, okay, well, now what? If ArenaNet thinks that Super Adventure Box is going to hold this content drought for a good amount of time so they can release stuff, then they're very wrong. Because a lot of people are just joking about Super Adventure Box. A lot of people like Super Adventure Box, but it's definitely not the whole scope of Guild Wars 2. It's a very, very small scope of Guild Wars 2. And it's something that a lot of people just liked to do on the side because it was fun. And it's definitely not going to mend any of the wounds that ArenaNet has already caused. Now, I know this video has been very, targeted towards ArenaNet and how, everything is just bad. So I do want to say this. If everything goes well, which we don't know, and that's the problem with all this. The problem with all this is that we don't know anything. Like we know what is coming. They're telling us what's coming. They're telling us that they're working on things. They're telling us that stuff is trying to be released. But we're not getting any proof of that. Nothing is ever being released. Weeks pass and nothing is coming out. Weeks pass and stuff slowly gets pushed back and told that stuff has to be suspended or stuff is going to take a little longer and whatnot. Stuff just keeps getting pushed back, and everything that we're being told, we just currently don't know if anything's going to be coming out. We don't know when it's going to be coming out. A lot of stuff we just don't know. It's a complete confusion, and no one knows barely anything. And that's the problem. I mean, I would love to give ArenaNet the benefit of the doubt. I would love to give them that benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, guys, let's just let them make their decisions and let's just leave it at that. Don't need to get angry, and just let them do it. But we've already done that in the past. And nothing really happened. So it's hard. It's very hard to be on their side about this. I mean, the only thing I could say is that, I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the fact that you're being open with us, that you're telling us what's going on, that you're not just hiding behind your screens and not wishing to communicate with the community. There are games who don't even communicate with their community and send automated responses constantly. I mean, we could be in such a terrible boat like that. So, I give them props. I give them props for being so upfront with us. I honestly do. If it's one thing I will continuously say to all of my friends, is that Guild Wars 2 probably has some of the most transparent developers and some of the friendliest developers, most invested developers in the game, and communication is really good compared to other games that I've had. And you really got to give them props on that. So that I really appreciate and I really like. But at the end of the day, I'm not paying money. I didn't buy the expansion. I'm not going to buy expansion pack 2. I'm not going to buy things on the gem store to get good communication. I'm going to buy these things to see my money be invested into something that is going to come back into the game. To see that content is being made. To see that content is being produced and given to the community to enjoy. And to see that things are being done correctly. That's what I'm giving my money to. And this is what the other game I was talking about had. A monthly subscription fee. A lot of people spending money on the game. Terrible game director now. Terrible service. And lackluster content. I would hate to see Guild Wars 2 be in the same position. And all I can say is we can just hope. That's all we can do. We can just hope. So that's pretty much for this video. If you don't potentially like this video because it's very negative, I do apologize. I honestly don't like it either. I honestly don't like these negative topics and these things that just, that's not why I make YouTube videos. I'm not here to bring negative content and bring people's hopes down and get people angry and stuff. I'm really not. But a lot of people have asked me to talk about this, and I've kind of wanted to give my opinion on it. So there's my opinion on it. And the fact that a lot of people have gotten angry about this, one thing I do want you guys to realize, if you're one of those people who's angry about this is still, I can understand the fact that you paid for Heart of Thorns and you're expecting legendaries, right? But we still have to consider this is a free game and we're not paying a monthly subscription. So in all reality, minus the fact that legendaries were advertised and now they're suspending them, subtract that, I mean, we really can't expect so much from ArenaNet because it's not a monthly subscription fee. I don't know, maybe that's just me being too empathetic. I've been known to be too empathetic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I'll definitely be down there talking to you guys as usual, responding to your comments. Thanks so much for listening. And just for those of you who are looking to make some more gold, there is something happening this Thursday, which will be Frostgorge Sound, and this is actually starting, I think it starts Thursdays, I'm not quite sure. It's a map bonus reward though. There was a PSA thread on Reddit, I thought I'd share it with you guys real quick. On Frostgorge Sound, there's going to be map rewards, which basically are events that you complete, and once you complete events, they'll add up points. There's a certain amount of points you get for each event you complete, and once you reach a certain amount of points after like 2 or 3 events, you start getting the map rewards. And these map rewards this week that are coming up for Frostgorge Sound are going to be some really expensive materials like lodestones, cores, giant's eyes. They're going to be very lucrative, so I encourage you, if you want to do some event farming, definitely check out Frostgorge Sound. I'm going to be doing some event farming. If you guys want to do some event farming too, I'll be there Thursday or Friday maybe, I'm not sure. But just want to let you guys know, because you can make a lot of gold off of that. And I do want to share with you guys a little clip that happened earlier this week when I was on Guild Wars 2 doing dailies. I was jumping around Lion's Arch, and if you check this footage out right here, if you're listening to the entire rant, I advise you to look at footage right now, because somehow my character was flipping and spinning in mid-air. I had some guy come up to me and he's like, how can I reproduce this? And I had people come around me and they're looking at me all weird. I don't know how, my screen froze while I was jumping on the jump pads, and all of a sudden I see myself spinning. I basically had to teleport my way to a trading post just to sell my stuff. I could have logged out, but I thought it looked pretty cool. So I just want to share with you guys that, because it's pretty cool, and I guess it sort of ends the video on a fun note, I guess. So, but yeah, and thank you as always for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. I hope that this video helped you out in any way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. If you didn't like it, you can leave a comment below as well and give some feedback. If you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well. And I usually try my best to answer those comments within the next 24 to 48 hours, depending on how busy I am. I also have plenty of other content on my channel about different gaming tutorials, as well as general gaming videos for Guild Wars 2, League of Legends, Minecraft, and any others that you may be interested in. So if you're interested in that type of stuff, check it out. And if you like what you see, you can subscribe too. Would really appreciate it. You can also check out my other channels and social medias as shown on the screen right now. And with that, thank you so much everyone, and this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.